The two Scarface films were originally denigrated by mainstream critics as nothing more than exploitive gangster movies that had nothing to offer artistically.
My name all over this town with it in big letters. Hey, stop him, somebody! Get out of my way, Johnny! I'm gonna spit!
Most viewers could not get past the notorious violence that each film displayed and see what each film offered on the issue of drugs, politics, and corruption. In this video, I would like to compare each Scarface film and show what each of them had to say about the American gangster and the American success story during their time in history. Each film portrays Tony and the war on gang violence differently. The original film's pro-government, pro-law enforcement point of view was due in large part to the progressive era of the 1930s. Tony Camonte is shown as a scourge on society that can only be brought to justice by tough cops and responsible government.
Laws that don't exist. Then it's up to the federal government to do something about it.
You're the government. All of you. Instead of trying to hide the facts, get busy and see that laws are passed that'll do some good.
For instance,
Pass a federal law that puts the gun in the same class as drugs and white slavery. Put teeth in the Deportation Act. These gangsters don't belong in this country. Half of them aren't even citizens. Make laws and see that they're obeyed. If we have to have martial law to do it.
However, in the remake, the authorities are nearly as corrupt as the drug dealers they were trying to fight. Whether they be cops, bankers, or crooked lawyers, they all want to be part of the action that the drug world offers. This widespread corruption makes it possible for Tony Montana to be embraced as an anti-hero by the audience, instead of being portrayed like a villain in the first film. Like The Godfather, the story of Scarface is used to criticize corporate business and capitalism. When developing the screenplay, both Brian De Palma and screenwriter Oliver Stone saw an opportunity in Scarface to satirize the get-rich culture of the 1980s, as well as the widespread consumption of cocaine by wealthy Americans.
Ultimately, that Bregman had developed with Stone was completely different. Nothing I had ever envisioned, and that's why I liked it so much, because it was a whole new way of approaching this material. And those elements were in the original script. I liked the material specifically because, to me, it was sort of like a modern metaphor for the treasure of Sierra Madre, where cocaine becomes gold, and it's a kind of the American dream gone crazy, where you have this product that you can turn into millions of dollars, but in the process you destroy your life. And it's sort of like the capitalist dream gone bizarre and berserk and as crazy as it can get and completely self-destructive.
I think you can even see flares of Tony Montana in Oliver Stone's Wall Street, where Gordon Gekko kills his competition with stolen information instead of bullets.
The bid is 16.5 and going down. As your broker, I advise you to take it.
Yeah? Well, you take it! Right in the ass, you fucking scumbag cocksucker!
Hey, who the fuck do you think you're talking to, huh?
you wanna fuck with?
Who the fuck do you think I am, you fucking bellboy? Come on,
brother.
Do you want to go to war? Come on. Do you want to go to war? We'll take you to war, okay?
Tony, coño.
It is an interesting commentary that if Tony were to make his fortune in any other industry, no matter how controversial, like gun manufacturing, tobacco, alcohol, or pharmaceuticals, he would be accepted as a legitimate businessman instead of a threat to society.
From several years ago in New York, he was an informer for the police.
The most popular criticism Scarface received was that many felt that the violence was too over the top and exaggerated. What the film tried to say in showing this graphic violence is how cartels and gangs use violence as an act of terror to intimidate their rivals. The tragic reality of today's drug war is that violent acts like the famous chainsaw scene is almost tame compared to the killings that happen in Mexico, where dealers and civilians are fair game to be tortured and murdered by cartels.
Mr. Ness! Mr. Ness, any comment for the record? The man who put Al Capone on the spot.
I just happened to be there when the wheel went round.
They say they're going to repeal Prohibition. What will you do then?
I think I'll have a drink.
The debate over drug prohibition and legalization has been going on for over 40 years, and only recently has the federal government been open to the idea of legalizing small amounts of marijuana. Surprisingly, in Scarface, the argument for drug legalization is endorsed by Tony.
Only place you could get your fingers
drug problem is the way
some dyke.
Prohibition was solved. Not by outlawing the substances, but by legalizing and taxing them. These voices say that will drive out the organized crime element. I am not one of those voices.
I know that, but you know why, Vic? Because you got your head up your culo. That's right. The fucking guy, he never tells the truth, the motherfucker.
The splendor of our city at its best.
It's those guys, man. It's the fucking bankers, the politicians. They're the ones that want to make coke illegal. So they can make the fucking money, and then they get the fucking votes. They're fighting the bad guys. They're the bad guys.
Thomas Paine once said, "Society is produced by our wants, and government by our wickedness." If the government recognized that society wanted drugs and allowed it, then crime would decrease, and drug kingpins like Tony wouldn't exist anymore. I argue that each Scarface film has been overlooked when it comes to their commentary and artistry, but I have to admit that they are both far from flawless films. Each has their own problems, whether it be the notorious music soundtrack in the remake, or the fake Italian accents in the original that are so bad they make Chico Marx sound good.
You sound so strange. Why are you talking like that?
Oh, well, you see, maybe sometime I go to Italy and I'm practicing the language.
With that said, flaws and all, each are classics in their own rights, and will always be the gold standard of the gangster genre. Thanks for watching.